this is the second talk regarding the exhibition. One was last week, so we'll look into the more recent activity of MITA. But before that, there's the museum, as everybody knows, is still closed. We are hoping to be able to welcome people back on the 19th of May. The tickets, as soon as everything is being more confirmed, will be for sale, and through our website and our tickets, our platform. So, in the meantime, the only way to keep in touch is through these talks. We're going to have another 2 talks about around the permanent collection for the next 2 Thursdays as well, with myself and Christopher Adams, my colleague. And obviously, this is a great opportunity to use the expertise of Matteo Fochessati, who's one of the curators of the exhibition, and he will take around and share some of his knowledge. The other thing before I can actually welcome everybody back, I thought maybe it would be interesting to see some of the images of the exhibition. Probably some of you have managed to come. Other people probably still sort of itching to come. And the good news that we managed to extend the exhibition until the 20th of June. So from when we probably reopen on 19th of May, will be another 5 weeks to see the show. But here to give you an idea of the feeling of the display, and also the fact they are objects. I think this is the great thing about this exhibition, that they are works of art, but also they are objects. And they was going to be last spring, and we still have it this spring as well. So it actually fits very well, and is a very happy, even if it's a superficial kind of term, show. And the material on display are particularly joyful and very interesting from lots of different ways. And obviously the galleries, in a way, they get transformed for each exhibition in the new style for welcoming different artifacts. And this we have tapestry, drawings, fabrics, rugs, and also design and material, graphic material. And these are the 2 rugs which the Gianni Franzoni talked about last week, the very beginning of the MITA company, and the first very traditional design, and the one which is next to it, which is little chairs by Gio Ponti, one of the most important designers of the 20th century in Italy. And this is Gallery 2, and it gives you a different feeling with later works. Matteo will talk about them. And I hope this at least gives you in context where they're going to be, and when you will be able to see the exhibition following Matteo's description this evening. You'll feel more, you have a better feeling of the rooms. And it goes from the beginning of the MITA production until the 1970s. And also accompanying the catalogue, obviously, we have lots of materials online as well, but also we do have a catalogue accompanying the exhibition. And also there are various merchandise which will be on sale in the shop. And also, obviously, I would like to take the opportunity again to thank everybody, the members and the public, and all the people they sent us donation, which has been extremely helpful, but not only because of money, but because also the warmth we felt from our public during the last year. And we hope to make everybody to meet everybody and to make the better meeting again in the summer when we are able to open. And I think now if Matteo would like to start talking. My last thing is a conversation, and I would be very happy to answer any question if you want to put them in the chat. I'm gonna look through it and then or at the end, but do interact if you feel like you want to ask something. And I will stop sharing it now, and then Matteo, if you want to start talking.
Thank you, Roberta, and good evening to you all. Thank you to participate to this meeting. I share now my screen, and let me see. Okay. So this evening we will talk. We will introduce to you the post-war production of the MITA. Probably Gianni Franzone told to you that during the war, the MITA produced uniforms, flying suits, and other military equipment for the Italian Air Force. But immediately after the end of the war, Mario Alberto Ponis, the founder of the company, reestablished the relationships with those artists who worked with him in the interwar period. And naturally, he set up a new collaboration with the aim to expanding the range of his production. And but in this period, because Gianni Franzone told to you that the main production in the interwar period was the rugs and tapestry. In this period, this kind of production declined, and generally the tapestry production was limited to commissions for naval installation or for the purpose of special exhibitions, like the rug design contest MITA Prize that was organized at the Triennale in Milano in 1947. Probably Gianni introduced to you the Triennale. It's correct, Roberta?
Yes, obviously, I think it's also we don't necessarily have the same people here than they were last week, but also absolutely with the idea what we sort of discussed last in the last talk was the first up to the war, and is actually the production and the relationship between Ponis and Joe Ponti and the various designers and artists.
Exactly. Yeah, the Triennale is an institution devoted to the design and decorative art. And this rug design contest, this MITA Prize, was originally scheduled for the edition of 1943, but it was postponed until 1947 due to the war. There was a competition jury, including a rationalist architect Piero Bottoni, an artist Aligi Sassu, and Ponis himself. And they decided to split the prize between the three designers. The first one, Lida Levi, on the right side of the screen. This is the drawing that he presented. In the left side of the screen, the drawing by Antonia Campi, who became later a famous ceramist that she worked with Richard Ginori. And in the center, the design by Ettore Sossaz Jr., who became one of the most important Italian designer, especially in the radical design. This was the last official exhibition devoted to the rugs. But before to introduce to you the post-war war production, I think that it's better underline 2 points. The first one is that Ponies maintains even in the post-war period the original aesthetical aptitudes of the MITA. I mean, on one hand, he rediscovered and he expanded traditional languages, traditional iconographical motifs, as well as in the interwar period with the first rugs influence with the Turkish influence. But on the other hand, he continued to create a collaboration with cutting-edge artists. In the interwar period was, for instance, with the futurist painter Fortunato De Pero, and in the post-war period, it will be with some important Italian artists of that time. The other point that it's important to underline is that he had always a strong relationship with his collaborator. Some of them became great friend with him. And I have just a quotation, it's the only one, by Ponti, Joe Ponti, the director of Domus, a famous architecture and design magazine. And he wrote about this aptitude by Ponies. Ponies is almost never the designer of his fabrics and rugs. Instead, he inspires the designs of his friends who are painters, architects, graphic designers, and ceramists. Two of them were Oscar Sacorotti and Emanuele Rambardi, that we can see in these vintage pictures in the interior of the factory with the Oscar Sacorotti with the wife of Ponies, Maddalena Pascocci, and Emanuele Rambaldi and Ponies playing cards in the Chiocciola trailer. That was one of the invention created by Ponies. Both these artists participated to an important traveling exhibition in the States, Italy at Work, that was inaugurated at the Brooklyn Museum in 1950. And this was an important exhibition because it was inside in the Marshall plans of the post-war period to support the Italian economy. And they, at this exhibition, MITA participated with fabrics designed by Sacorotti and Rambaldi. Another important artist who collaborate with Ponies in the interwar period, but also in the post-war period, was Enrico Paolucci. He was a painter, and but he designed fabrics and tapestry. And what is interesting to see, and you can understand through this comparison between a tapestry designed around 1953 and a painting of the same period, is that he used the same iconographical motifs, the same stylized for shapes in his paintings, with the influence of the neo-cubism that was very common and popular in that period. You can see the Picasso influence in the seagull's scarf. That was yeah.
No, just say obviously the tapestry we saw earlier, and this and this one they are on show. So obviously here we are seeing extra things, but also things that are on display on the exhibition.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, the tapestry that we have seen before is on display at the Estorick. This is another one, but the scarf design is on display, and it was made for Leonardo da Vinci. That was an important ship that was made in the 60s. Another artist who collaborate very often with Pones was Emanuele Luzzati. Pones met Emanuele Luzzati at the Nervi Botanical Park. The Nervi Botanical Park is in the east side of Genoa. It is close to it was close to the MITA factory, and he met during the staging of William Shakespeare, The Merry Wives of Windsor, for which Luzzati worked on the scenography and costumes. Luzzati had a versatile and experimental talent, and he collaborated a lot with the pony production. He designed textiles, headscarves, artistic panels, tapestry, and in the same period, he also began to create ceramic works in Albisola. Albisola is a small village in the west side of Liguria that is he has this village has a tradition in the production of ceramics, and there in Albisola, Luzzati made this painted glass terracotta composition that is now on display at the Estorick, and he donated it to Mario Alberto Ponis. Here it's interesting because you have a fabric design by Luzzati and a picture of the interior of the factory, and on the easel there is the drawing that you can see in the left side of the screen. And Luzzati collaborate a lot also designing scarves that was created on commission by the ship line. They are almost a kind of souvenir that it was donated at the hand of the crews to the women. And but he made also this incredible, amazing and huge tapestry that was showed at the Triennale of Milano in 1954, and later in another edition of the Triennale of Milano in 1973. And this tapestry, it's really important to understand the style, but even the iconographical motifs used by Luzzati, since we have on this purple background the combination of reference to the ancient tradition of the tapestry, but in the same time reference to the composition models of the modern avant-garde that is typical of the style of Luzzati and his creation of fairy tale scene.
Also, can I just say what is very interesting about all this manufacture, at least for me, is definitely has been one of the most interesting. These are it's in manufactura, so it's actually is a kind of factories, but still they are still handmade. There is a process, but they're still articrafts. So it's actually that kind of a cast when it was a change from being craft and craftsmanship and one-off pieces and being a factory. So it's actually it's very interesting that period. The fact is a factory, but actually they were unique pieces as well.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, exactly. That was the peculiarity of the MITA production, that we have one piece of art, but even a mass production. And the man of the mass production was Eugenio Carmi. Eugenio Carmi was an artist connected to the cutting edge experience of that time, and especially because he was the art director of the Ilva Cornigliano, that was a steel and iron producer, very important at that time in Genoa. Genoa at not now, but at that time was a very rich town, and with an industrial scene. And he produced for the Italceder signals, objects in steel, and with a modern style connected to the experience of the informel, as you can see in these two projects for scarf design and fabric, but also connected to the geometric abstraction that was very popular and common at that time. And he designed also tapestry like this one. Another artist, very innovative, very connected with the cutting edge experience of the time, was Emilio Scanavino, that you can see here in two pictures with Alberto Burri, who is one of the most popular and famous Italian artists in the post-war period, and Gillo Dorfles, who was an artist but also an art critic. And Scanavino produced for the MITA fabric designs, but also he participated to the creation of limited editions of photo engraved wall panels that Ponis began to produce since 1958. In this year, he signed contracts with all the artists that we met before, and to produce a kind of limited editions of photo engraved wallpaper panels that was he tried to update the tradition, this 18th century tradition of the printed contour sheets that are known as mezzari. And you have some example in this slides of what is a mezzaro. The mezzaro was, a cotton sheet used by the women as shawls or used for furnishings. And in fact, you can see here the poster of an exhibition that was organized in 1941. And Ponis showed all these panels the first time in a gallery in Genoa, the Società della Cultura, in 1958. And the exhibition had a very good review because these panels represent an updating of the mezzari tradition, but in the same time they are innovative and they have a low price. And you know that Genovese are very famous because they are stingy, and all the local newspaper underline that they are low price. You have an artistic panel with the signature. and
also, probably is exactly encapsulate the whole idea of MITA from the beginning, the fact using the new technology to produce something of a very high level or artistic level, but with using the technology to bring the price down, I suppose, and there's a bit more economic. But it's in a sense, it's making more democratic.
Exactly. It was the idea of the multiples and to have like the prints, but in the same time you have a panel, a big panel that you can put on the wall in your apartment, and you have a big choice, because you can have the more traditional designs by Rambaldi and Sacorotti, but you have a modern approach, a more modern approach with reference to the neo-cubist or Picassian style with Paulucci, again Paulucci and Luzzati, always with this reference to fairy tales, to the medieval style, to the medieval climax, and again
it feels very much that the fact is actually the tradition is very Italian feel about the Italian tradition, so that you actually never, despite the technology, the new modernization way of producing things, you go back to something artifact that actually is or a traditional piece of cloth that actually goes back to the Middle Ages, and there's that sort of thread, there's which feels there's a thread that making something very modern and cutting edge if you're using technologies, but actually rediscovering something that belongs to the Middle Ages.
Yeah, we have always this contrast or this integration between two different aptitudes, and this here you have the more modern, innovative, aesthetical approach by Eugenio Carmi, and in this advertisement you have how it was presented, this wall panels, photo engraved wall panels in a room, in an apartment, and they are limited editions, not more 200 editions, with the original, the handle signature of artists, and that was very important. And in this case, you have a wall panel by Scanavino, and this is a picture of the interior of the factory with the same panel on the wall. And other example of the wall panels by Scanavino, again Scanavino. And this was the second exhibition, because I mean the third exhibition, because after the exhibition in Genoa, there was an exhibition in Florence, alla Galleria Vignanuova, and later in Caracas at the Fundación Mendoza. That's why, because Joe Ponti, that was a very close friend of Poni's, at that time he worked in Venezuela doing architectural project in Caracas, and he introduced Poni's to the Fundación Mendoza, and it was organized this exhibition. And so here this is another picture of the exhibition. And then we have Arnaldo Pomodoro, that was another innovative artist who was a sculptor, but he collaborated with the MITA with scarves, and even his brother, Joe Pomodoro, did a design for a scarf. And what is interesting in the archive, that is, we have the drawings and the scarf. And again, it's interesting to see how this kind of products are connected to the original work of art made by these artists. And Leo Leone was another graphic designer who collaborated to the MITA in the same period, and he he came from the States, where he escaped in the late 30s from the Russian laws, and he became art director of the magazine Fortunes. But in 1960, he came back to Liguria, and he began to produce children books as author and illustrator, but in the same time he collaborated with the MITA doing scarf design or panels. The last public commission commissioned to the MITA was this big tapestry by Aldo Bosco for the new Ligurian headquarters of the Italian broadcasting company RAI, and it depicts the landscape of Genoa and his harbor with neo-cubist vocabulary. But we arrived to the ships, to the naval collaboration, because during this period, I mean the post-war period, MITA increased in his production of fabrics and tapestries for the ships, for the ocean liners. Already in the interwar period, he produced this kind of works, I mean rags or runners for the main, the most famous ocean liners of the period, like the Rex, or the Rex is the Queen Mary of the situation, and or the Conte di Savoia. But he increase this production in the post-war period, since the two most important naval architects, Gustavo Pulitzer Finali and Nino Zoncada, arrived in Genoa for two reasons. In Genoa, there were at that period, they were operating that period the most important shipping companies and the most important shipyards, and this combination create a collaboration between two architects and I mean the MITA. This was a work that is showed at the exhibition. It's the Michael Rackley's design for the tapestry for the Andrea Doria. Andrea Doria was a ship who did his first journey in 1953, but that tragically sank in 1956. Fortunately, we have the drawings of this tapestry, and we have the pictures of the tapestry during the at the factory, and we can recognize the same fact, in this picture, the style, the neo-cubist style that you can see in the two drawings that are now on display at the.
One thing is that, sorry to interrupt. One thing is that on display at the Estorick there are the true drawings, and I think is why it's extraordinary, because the drawings are probably that big, and is to think they actually then they're scaled up. Yeah. And it is fascinating, and because it's from something that's probably 50 by 20 or something, that is actually the details that they're how big they become, and these photographs are very interesting.
Yeah, because of course they are the first drawings, but naturally the designer Michael Rackley's did also the cartoon for this that belongs to our archive. And in the same time, MITA produce also fabrics for curtains, for instance. And was a fabric designed by an Italian architect, Osti Vesic, and you can recognize the same texture of this fabric in the curtains on the back of these two pictures depicting Tyrone Power with Linda Christian or the famous Italian actress Anna Magnani. And another curtain is this one by Eugenio Carmi. It was in the teenager room in a ship of the Costa Line, because Nino Zoncada, this one of the both architects that worked with the MITA, was the architect who create the Costa style, and he worked a lot with Luzzati. These are two projects by Luzzati for the scarfers, and Luzzati did three big tapestries for the ships, the Costa ships, inspired by the music of Rossini and Mozart, and that we can see on display at the Estorick, not the tapestry that now belong to the Costa company, but the two drawings. And you can see on display at the exhibition also the drawing for the Paulucci tapestry Opal that was in the ballroom of the touristic class of the Eugenio C, one of the most famous ship of the Costa Line.